You ever notice how some stories just work? There's this formula, right? A recipe for romance that we seem to fall for every single time. Two people pretending to be a couple who then, whoops, actually fall in love for real. So today, let's dive into this amazing storytelling engine, the fake dating trope.
Okay, picture this. You've got two complete strangers in a huge city, Arav and Emma. They make a deal. He's desperate for college money, she's desperate to get her family off her back. The terms? They seem simple. The timeline? It's short. What could possibly go wrong with a perfect, uncomplicated plan like that? Or so they think. All right, so let's start by breaking this whole thing down. What is this trope really? And why are we so completely drawn to this particular lie? What is it about that journey from fake to real that gets us every single time?
At its heart, the fake dating trope is basically a relationship of convenience. It all starts with a practical goal and, most importantly, a clear exit strategy. The intention is zero messy emotions involved. It's basically a business transaction that's just pretending to be a love story.
So why are we so obsessed with this? Well, it's pretty much psychological catnip for readers and viewers. Think about it. You get instant closeness because they share this huge secret, which puts them in their own little bubble. Then there's the emotional ticking clock. The deal has to end, which just ramps up the tension. And maybe, just maybe, part of the appeal is this fantasy of having a relationship with clear rules and an escape hatch. It feels like a safe way to fall in love, right before everything, inevitably goes completely off the rails.
So how does a story like this even begin? Every single fake relationship has to start somewhere, right? And the setup has to feel real, with stakes that are so high that pretending to be a couple feels like the only option on the table.
And with Arav and Emma, the setup is just perfectly balanced. They both have something super important to gain and something really big to lose. It's a mutual exchange. His financial problems get solved in exchange for her social freedom. On paper, it's a clean, logical deal. On paper.
You know, the genius of this trope is how flexible it is. We see it absolutely everywhere, from big blockbuster books to our favorite K-dramas. Maybe it's to impress the family at a wedding, or to land a huge promotion, or the classic making an ex jealous. The specific reason always changes, but that core emotional journey, that always stays the same.
Okay, now we get to one of the most fun parts of this whole setup, the rules. Before the act can even begin, our characters have to sit down and lay out the ground rules. They're basically trying to build a firewall to keep any real feelings out.
And these rules are they're perfect, aren't they? It's basically a checklist of all the things that are about to go beautifully, spectacularly wrong. No catching real feelings? Yeah, good luck with that one. No jealousy? That's usually the first one to go out the window. This whole agreement is basically a blueprint for their eventual emotional collapse.
And for Arav and Emma, you can see the lines start to blur almost right away. The script says fake smile, but the reality is a hand squeeze that just lasts a little too long. Every time they have to perform in public, it creates this private moment of confusion. They're acting for everyone else, but who are they acting for when nobody's watching?
And this is where it gets really good. We're at the heart of the story now, the slow burn. This is the magic of the trope, watching those carefully built walls just start to crumble, one little brick at a time.
So at first, it's all an act. They're laughing way too loud, holding hands for the cameras. But then a real joke lands, and that laughter, it isn't forced anymore. It's actually real.
And the small talk that was just meant to fill the silence starts to change. They stop talking about the weather and start talking about their actual dreams, their fears. They're not just playing roles anymore. They're actually getting to know the person behind the act.
And this is it. This is the point of no return. Emma finally feels like someone sees her, not just her bank account. And Arav, for the first time, feels like he actually matters to someone. The fake relationship accidentally created the perfect safe space for them to be truly vulnerable with each other.
And then, you get the turning point. Emma's alone, looking at their pictures, and she asks the one question that changes absolutely everything. And that question reveals the truth. The hurt is real, which can only mean one thing. The feelings that caused it have to be real too.
So with that realization, the clock is suddenly ticking louder than ever before. You see, the lie has an expiration date, and any story that's built on a pretense has to eventually face the music when it all comes crashing down.
These stories almost always follow this classic pattern. You've got the hook, that's the problem. Then the spark, the moment they make the deal. They escalate the performance, which leads to the pivot. That's when the real feelings kick in. Then comes the snag, the moment the lie falls apart.
all before you get to the final resolve where they have to face the truth.
So for Arav and Emma, that snag moment is the end of their week. The contract is over. And that silence after the performance is finished, it can be absolutely deafening. It's this harsh slam back to reality, that sudden feeling of being alone when you don't have that shared secret anymore. This is that moment of loss, where it really has to hurt.
But, of course, the story doesn't end there. That fallout is what forces the final and most important act, the confession. This is where our characters have to risk it all and just admit that the lie has somehow become their truth.
And there it is, the emotional climax. You know, it takes so much courage to say that. Arav isn't just saying, I love you. He's admitting he broke the rules, that he failed to keep his distance, that he's completely and totally vulnerable. It's the moment he finally accepts that what started as a job has become the most real thing in his entire life. This is the cathartic payoff we've all been waiting for.
And that's really the beautiful irony of the fake dating trope, isn't it? In a world that can feel full of fleeting moments, the one relationship that was supposed to be the most fake, the most temporary, actually turns out to be the most real and authentic connection they've ever found.
So, what's the big takeaway here? This trope isn't just about romantic tension. It's about this idea that the line between who we pretend to be and who we really are can be incredibly thin. It kind of suggests that by acting out love and kindness and vulnerability, we might just discover that those things were inside of us the whole time. And maybe, just maybe, the most honest feelings can grow from the most unexpected beginnings.